Very passionate about all this stuff. It's really led to a lot of freedom in my life, and I've seen it grow with other healthcare professionals, and just being able to educate and provide this other opportunity to healthcare professionals is my biggest passion.
Welcome. This is the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping others through real estate investing. Our hosts interview guests from all aspects of real estate investing who generously share valuable experiences and advice. Whether you're starting out or an experienced investor, this is the show for you.
One thing I'm super excited about to announce with Savannah on the podcast is the fact that she's going to be one of the speakers for the Breakthrough Real Estate Investors Conference being held on October 21st at the Desert Willow Convention Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Be sure to get your tickets, as Savannah, the Networth nurse, is going to be talking about financial foundation and be joining a Q&A panel. So be sure to get your tickets today. Hello, and how's it going? My name is Travis Shelton, and welcome to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, where I interview guests who want to help others investing in real estate. We keep these podcasts fun and full of value, and really excited for the conversation we're going to have today with a fellow healthcare professional, Savannah Arroyo, an RN, MSN, and CEO and founder of the Networth Nurse and her newest startup, InvestHealth. Savannah, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I've gotten to know you a little bit better over the last several weeks, but can you give our audience your 30-second elevator pitch, a little bit more about yourself and your real estate focus?
Yeah, definitely. So I am a registered nurse, really new out of high school. I wanted to go into the nursing career, so started doing that, was naturally gravitating to leadership roles, taking on process improvement. So started to climb that corporate ladder, went back to school, got my master's degree in nursing leadership and administration, had my eyes set on becoming a CNO, chief nursing officer of a large hospital. And it was after having my second daughter, beginning of 2020, where a lot of my priorities started shifting, became very focused on creating more financial freedom for myself and my husband, and not wanting to be entirely dependent on our W-2 income. And so started looking across the internet for different ways to do this, stumbled upon real estate investing. It's obviously one of the best ways to do this. Started in single family homes, and have since grown to syndication company where I now partner with healthcare professionals to go out and buy apartment buildings.
No, that's amazing. And I actually absolutely love your story. And I think there's so much to be said there. Like, once you have a family or you grow your family, like, all of a sudden that why becomes way bigger than yourself. And it gives you like that much more motivation. And I love the fact that you've already been able to raise $10 million just, with other healthcare professionals and other investors to be able to do some of those investments. So we're going to skip the motivational quote, because I think that's enough motivation for anyone. So let's kind of dive right into the main topic. How can you help our audience of real estate investors?
Yeah, so really what we do in the real estate space is syndications, which if a lot of people aren't familiar with this, it's basically people pooling together their resources. So my husband and I, we are very active in the real estate space. We like going out and buying the property, managing it, increasing those returns. A lot of people, a lot of healthcare professionals specifically, don't have the time and energy to go out and do that. But there's still these opportunities for them to passively invest and jump in on these real estate investments through syndications. And that's where the perfect partnership exists between the active investors and the passive investors, both contributing to go out and now buy these buildings that they normally couldn't go and buy on their own. A great way to diversify investment portfolios and just a better way to grow wealth.
That's awesome. So is your husband in the healthcare field too?
No, he's not.
Okay. So that's awesome, because I love having like two different expertises kind of, on a team. But how did you decide, I guess, on your market, right? Like, real estate, you live in California, the market's very tough to get into there. How did you choose, I guess, your first apartment syndication deal?
Yeah, so our first syndication deal is up in Oregon. We've since purchased 5 apartment complexes up there in the last couple of years.
Nice.
And we stumbled upon that market really by habit and chance. We were getting started underwriting deals and practicing in the beginning and looking at all sorts of markets across the country. And we're looking up in Oregon because I have family up there and we were just curious, running numbers, and started looking at a deal and it was looking really good. And so ended up reaching out to the broker, doing more analysis, underwriting different aspects of the market with property management and that piece. And it ended up being a good deal. We established a great relationship with the broker and I've since done the 5 deals with that same broker.
That's awesome. Now, work with gurus or mentors or anyone beforehand that you would recommend or maybe not recommend?
Yeah, so we went into a coaching program. It was a $30,000 coaching program. There's a few different ones out there.
Yeah.
For us, our motivation entering into a program like this was we wanted to build a business out of this. And so we were sold on multifamily syndications. This was it for us. And so us going all in, it was worth it for us to sign up for a coaching mentorship program to get that second set of eyes under all of our underwriting. People with decades of experience teaching us how to analyze these deals, how to manage these assets, how to raise capital legally, and the intricacies of that. I mean, for us, we were raising money from friends, family, other healthcare professionals, and so we wanted to be going about it all the right ways. And so it was worth it for us to invest in something like that. But I do think it's twofold. I think the majority of people will invest in a program like that for those reasons. And then also the accountability piece. We didn't necessarily need that accountability piece. It definitely provides it in those programs. For us, we were action takers. We were ready to make moves. But that is another benefit of a program like that.
No, absolutely. And I've been a part of a couple of those programs. And I think the networking too within those groups is phenomenal. You can find a lot of partners, a lot of people to eventually maybe raise money from or do deals with. So, you are the sum of the 5 closest people to you. So I love the mentoring in those networking groups. But yeah, some gurus, the $50,000, $100,000 ones, it's like, are you going to take the action to make those things worth it? And it certainly sounds like you guys have. Now, are you only investing in apartments or do you invest in other multifamily assets?
Yeah, so we have a storage facility that we're partners on that's down in Arizona. So a little bit different. It's still a value add opportunity where we're going and finding deals that are mismanaged, either held in the same family for generations. Maybe some of these owners, they have a whole portfolio and this one's kind of sitting on the back burner and they're not paying close enough attention to it. And so we see opportunities like this and from motivated sellers, and we go out, purchase the deal, and then we put in the sweat equity. We force value and appreciation into these deals.
No, I love that. And it's absolutely, those are the sorts of deals I try to get myself into both passively and actively, because I think anytime you can force that appreciation, you can really kind of underwrite it, conservatively, but still know that you're going to be able to kind of force that appreciation, like you mentioned. So is there one asset that you're when you're sourcing deals, are you looking for any kind of value add deals? And like you said, those mom and pop, those are your buy box. Or are you looking for more storage facilities or more apartments? Like where's kind of your focus there?
Yeah, so we've settled really in the smaller mid-sized multifamily deals. So 12 units up to 36 units is kind of our sweet spot right there. And for us, we're now eliminating a lot of the competition that comes in from these huge industrial type syndication companies that are going out and buying hundreds of units. And so it's a great spot for us to come in and target these deals. And we're looking for the strong value add. So for us, a lot of what we're looking for in a deal is dependent on what type of returns we're looking for our investors. So we're looking really for 100% ROI for our investment. So if an investor invests $50,000 with us, we're looking to double that investment over the course of 3 to 7 years, depending on the deal that we're doing. We look for targeted cash flow and average annualized return. And then if we're able to find buildings that meet those metrics, those are the ones that we're submitting offers on.
Perfect. That's awesome. And then are you guys doing only accredited investors, or do you guys have opportunities within some of your deals for non-accredited investors?
So up until this point, the majority of our deals have been 506B offerings. So this is for unaccredited investors. The difference between an unaccredited investor and an accredited investor, an unaccredited investor is also known as a sophisticated investor. But the accredited investors, you have a couple different criteria. One of them is net worth liquidity, so $1 million net worth liquidity, or an annual income of over 200,000, but 300,000 when you're filed joint. And so these are some of the criteria that make investors eligible to be accredited investors. We cater to unaccredited investors because the majority of nurses are unaccredited. And when we first started investing in real estate in these type of deals, we were unaccredited ourselves. We didn't meet that threshold. And so it's still very important for us to be able to bring those type of deals to our investors. So we will continue to do both 506B and 506D.
I love that. I've struggled in my own business, like focused on, helping others through real estate investing, but it's like, you're going after the big checks, right? But you also want to bring these people along. And if they're not accredited yet, how do I bring them along to this whole world of syndication or funds, right? If they're not accredited. So I love the fact that you guys are still doing a lot of 506 Bs, and non-accredited and sophisticated investors. That's amazing. And so help our audience there. Like if someone was not accredited, but they wanted to get into one of your deals, right? We have to have a prior established relationship. We have to have some of those. So how can they maybe get to know you so they can be part of future opportunities that you have?
Yeah, before we dive into that, I want to first highlight how these deals are marketed differently, because then that kind of bases it on their relationships, right? So 506B offerings, because you are in a way soliciting this investment to unaccredited or sophisticated investors, you're unable to broadcast it on Facebook, websites. You can't market it like that. You need to market it directly to people that you've had a pre-existing relationship with. And for me, I like having that relationship with all our investors in the deal. Anyone who's investing with us, I like to hop on a phone call with and just kind of understand what their investment portfolio does look like, what they're hoping to gain out of investments, what type of returns they're looking for, how much capital they have ready to deploy, what state they're in, because that does impact different legal and security filings. So I, regardless of the filing, like to have conversations with all of my investors, and then to kind of, that's an initial point of the establishing an existing relationship, and then just hopping on our email list so we continue to stay up to date with them with monthly newsletters, updating people on what's going on with our portfolio. We also have an investor portal where some of our interested investors can hop on there and take a look at past deals and then have the opportunity to invest in future deals.
I love that. And I think it's so important because what I've noticed is people will join those lists or join your newsletter, and they might be sitting there for 6 to 12 months to see, are you still going to be around in a year? How are your deals actually performing? And they're doing a lot of due diligence you don't know about. And then all of a sudden they write this big check, or all of a sudden, they want to meet with you because they do have, funds coming available. They want to invest. So we'll definitely include all Savannah and her contact information and ways to connect with her in our show notes. So if you're interested, please reach out to her and connect with her after the show. So Savannah, why do you think specifically healthcare professionals should consider investing in real estate? Like what is it about healthcare? Both of us are in healthcare background, that we see so many of our peers getting into this space or wanting to get into this space.
Yeah. So healthcare professionals really make the best investors and great investors in these syndications, because a lot of healthcare professionals are sitting on capital, whether it be from an old IRA account. We take self-directed IRA funds in our investments. So a lot of nurses and other medical professionals work many different jobs, and they have old 401k accounts that they don't know really with a click of a button. You can convert it into a rollover IRA, which then you can move into a self-directed IRA and use it to invest in these real estate syndications. So that's one reason why healthcare professionals make great investors in these deals. For sure. But for me, where I became super motivated to become an advocate in this space is I started learning about real estate investing, and it's allowed me to leave a full-time W-2 job. It's allowed me more financial freedom with my family. It's created so much more freedom in my life. And I was working throughout the COVID pandemic as a nurse administrator, and we were in a position where we were shutting down all our surgery centers when all the elective surgeries were closed, and we were laying off nurses and staff and didn't know, if they would get subsidized from the government. And that whole transition opened my office door literally to hundreds of conversations with healthcare professionals about their finances and where they were. And it was so heartbreaking for me to see these people who could literally go out and save lives, like they're doing it on a very regular basis, but they're living paycheck to paycheck, or they're just in really bad financial situations. And for me, I've become super motivated about the education piece of it, which is what my startup InvestHealth is all about. But really showing healthcare professionals that there are these real estate syndications and investment opportunities that they can hop into pretty passively and grow their wealth a lot better than they're doing currently.
No, I mean, yeah, you're spot on. And I think, maybe to add just a little bit, I always think like professionals in healthcare, they're used to hiring specialists, right? Like there's primary care, but you go to a cardiologist, you go to an endocrinologist, you go to an oncologist, right? And so I think these individuals in healthcare, to kind of add to your point why they make such good investors, they're very comfortable, like, doing the due diligence on an operator, but then putting their money with a professional, right? And putting their money with professional teams in syndications to be able to make them more money. And they like the tangible aspect of that as opposed to the stock market per se, or to help diversify. And those are some of the things I've heard from some of the healthcare professionals I've raised money from, or that I collaborate with. So let's talk a little bit more about your new startup, InvestHealth, and just, why, you had Networth Nurse, and that was obviously going very successful for you. So what is it about this startup that really got you kind of going or motivated to create a new startup?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, financial wellness has been huge for me, and the education piece, and really incorporating it into the overall mental wellness that we're now being incorporated into employers and a lot of things since the COVID pandemic, which has been great. But the financial wellness piece, I mean, it's more often than not the most common trigger or financial stress in someone's overall wellness. And so we feel that this isn't adequately addressed. I mean, people are graduating high school and nursing school and medical school and not knowing how to do taxes, not knowing what documents they need to go out and buy their first home, to get an auto loan, how to pay off credit card debt, how to save for retirement in the different accounts. I mean, it's a lot of information that people don't know a lot about. And so we've created a financial wellness product that we're going direct to employer with. So that's always been huge for us as well, is a B2C product where consumers can go on and pay $9.99 a month. That's cool and all, but we truly feel that the healthcare organizations need to be paying for this for their employees. And so we're targeting travel nurse agencies, travel agencies in general, different hospitals, and healthcare organizations to include this as a value add benefit feature for their healthcare professionals.
That's amazing. I love the tactic. I actually didn't know that. I guess one question follow up there is, do you target maybe schools, like professional schools? I know, like through my, doctorate program, I would have loved to have had some sort of education or course that I could have been taking to know, how do you deal with these $100,000 worth of student loans? How do you deal with getting out and making over $100,000 with all these, trying to live up to the Joneses and having the Maserati like the next door neighbor and having the huge house? So like, are you targeting schools or anything like that?
Absolutely. Yep. Universities and medical schools are big for us. And exactly like you said, like we truly believe the sooner healthcare professionals have this information in their career, it will only have compounding effects for them moving forward.
That's nice. How do you divide your time, right? Like you have these startups, you have 2 kids. I have 3 kids. I know how it is. I'm married. Like you have so many responsibilities. Like how do you balance all this, Savannah?
Yeah, organization is big. So I have like a running to-do list with my businesses separated and to-dos for each specific business. Um, Technology and integrating things like Slack, Google Drive, Canva, all of that stuff for communication and organization purposes is really big. For me, it's always having a very strong why. Writing down goals has been a big practice for me ever since I graduated college, really. So I've been doing it for a long time.
Nice.
But especially when it comes to my businesses, I mean, it's so satisfying to set goals. We started in the real estate space 3 years ago. Now, both my husband and I have been able to leave full-time positions. Like, it's so powerful
So
when you
powerful.
take action. And we knew we could get there, but it's hard, coming into this new. But when you have those goals set and you can really have a clear vision of what your life could look like if you get to that point and achieve those goals, that's big. And having that to lean back on when the times get hard and my toddlers are running around and I have 6 emails I need to get back to and
Oh, yeah.
deadlines and all that stuff. Yeah.
What did all your colleagues and friends say? Like, you're obviously incredibly smart. You become a leader in your organization, your nurse, you're on this like fast track to leadership, a potential CNO position, and then you leave. Like, were they just like, what in the hell are you doing? I mean, like, what were some of the reactions?
For sure.
Or can I join you?
Definitely. Yeah, right. Half and half, right? Like, definitely some of the leaders who are watching me grow are kind of like, what? You're leaving. And some of my direct reports and other nurses that I worked with were like, some of them are investors in my deals and that type of stuff. So they've been kind of watching along in my journey and seeing it pay off and grow over the last couple of years. So definitely a double-edged sword, I feel like, because even for me, like once I left my full-time salary position, and it was after COVID, I mean, things are still all the restructuring of organizations.
Yeah.
After that, I had a few different people call me for director positions of like cardiovascular, departments. And that was just like a dream role. I couldn't,
Yeah.
and I've since turned down a few of those, which has been pretty crazy. And then so right now I work part-time at a hospital. I've been at a hospital 6 months on an ortho floor, and I've had my manager reach out to me recently about becoming a lead or stepping up and kind of moving into those roles. And it's just so crazy to kind of say no, but it's like I'm an all-in type person. So when I'm working as a leader and administrator during the day, that's my full focus, and it takes a lot out of me. It's hard to balance that type of commitment to two different roles, and so I've really backed out of that in the hospital setting.
No, it's incredibly difficult. I know. And as a go-getter, you get those opportunities and you're like director or like more money or this big bonus or this big title. And you're like, that's what I've always wanted, right? You wanted to be a nurse for so long, did the school. And then now it's like, well, but now I'm focused more on this and building my own wealth and, for my family and, other generations. And it's like, people don't necessarily, it's like, hey, we're making money for ourselves and our friends. I'm not making money for the business anymore. That, gives me a straight salary. And people have a really hard time understanding that, but I think you did a really nice job explaining it. What advice would you give a listener that has not started investing in real estate yet?
Start with education. So start learning the terms and the language. So this is what I speak to with healthcare professionals is you learn medical school, you learned that, all those jargon and acronyms. Real estate is really the same way. And I think that is when people start looking at it, they get a little bit intimidated initially, looking at all the acronyms and the language that they don't understand. Like, keep learning. Podcasts is huge. Listening to podcasts, for me, it was 45 minutes to work and home from work for a year, solid. And that was a great way to learn the language, hearing people talk about it, transactions, what they're doing, different strategies, books. Yeah, education is the biggest piece first.
No, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, at some point you have to take action, right? But I always tell people, like, don't get into analysis paralysis, but educate yourself, identify something, and dip your toe in the water if you have to at first, because you're going to learn so much more when you actually take a little bit of action. But also to just don't go out there and blow all your money on one deal, or you're the first person you meet that wants, or promises you some amazing return on your money. You definitely have to vet the operators and the people that you're going to invest with or the deals that you're going to do. I think I've covered all the questions I wanted to ask. Have I not asked something that maybe you want to touch base on or talk about?
No, that was great. I'm very passionate about all this stuff. It's really led to a lot of freedom in my life, and I've seen it grow with other healthcare professionals, and just being able to educate and provide this other opportunity to healthcare professionals is my biggest passion.
What is up, Hot REI Nation? My name is Jordan Nadella with Simplicity Lending Group and powered by Nexa Mortgage. As the nation's largest broker, Nexa Mortgage offers a variety of creative and competitive loan options through our 170 plus partnerships to help you achieve homeownership with the speed and service that you deserve. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer or an experienced investor, I'm dedicated to finding the right program to fit your financial goal. My mission is to make home ownership a very easy and seamless process from start to finish. If you are in the market today to purchase real estate, please contact me to find the best mortgage solution for your needs.
That's awesome. Are you ready for the hot seat?
Let's do it.
All right. We ask all our guests the same final 4 hot questions. So number 1, what is one book you'd recommend to someone wanting to know more about real estate investing?
Yeah, who, not how. That's big. Not real estate specific, but really big when you're coming into the space, because it can be very overwhelming to think of how you're going to get everything done, and leveraging who you can talk to learn things or get things going is big.
Yeah, that book changed my life. What is your favorite productivity tip or trick, maybe a tool or time saver, an app that helps you get more done than the common person?
Listing out to-dos. I do it physically so I can cross them off, and that's like that little dopamine hit of feeling
The checkbox.
productive. Yeah. Yes, that's big for me.
I love it. What is your biggest real estate mistake or failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
So actually the first syndication deal we bought, it was a 12 unit. We were told in all of the marketing material that we could turn a storage space into a 13th unit. And so we were underwriting all of our numbers that way. We grabbed some engineers to come draw out sketches of what that would look like, got quotes from them, integrated it into our underwriting. Like I mentioned before, we had a coach that was helping us through this process. So we thought we were checking all the boxes, doing all the things, and then we closed on the deal and come to find out those engineers went to go pull permits from the city, and we could not add an extra unit. And so that was a huge ouch. I still remember where I was when I got that email, and just my heart dropping, because we had investors in the deal. And I thought, like, did we not do everything we could to prevent something like that from happening? And here we are, and it happened. But yeah, why I love working so much with my husband is we're a very much, when something like that does happen, not focusing on all the negatives or the blame game or who did this. It's just like, what can we do to fix it? And that's really what we focused on. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And you're always going to run into those what ifs. And even when you think of doing everything you could do ahead of time, there's still that like, oh shit moment, I think, in real estate that everyone hits at one point or another. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Ooh, kindness. I think that is definitely overrated for some reason now in our society. And that's just probably number one thing I instill into my daughters as well, kindness.
I love that. I know I teach my son and my daughter, and, you know, just to say hi to people, to look at them in the face and say hello is like such a missed thing in today's world. So I love that. I've never heard kindness, but I love that answer. The best place for the Hot REI community to connect with Savannah is almost every social media platform out there under the Networth Nurse, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, and the website. I will be sure to include all her contact information in the show notes. Please connect with her after you watch the show. Savannah, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun, and love talking to a fellow healthcare professional and real estate investor. I definitely think a lot of healthcare professionals out there are going to gain a ton of value from this. And I know from everything you do on social media, if you don't follow Savannah, because you learn a ton, she provides a ton of value in all her social media accounts.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Travis.
Of course. And to the audience, thank you for tuning in, and commit to taking action today to move your investing forward. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you for listening to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast. Check out our website, hotrei.com, for additional content and resources. And please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review. so we can continue to bring even more value to others through real estate investing.